if I missed you, welcome, welcome. Again, I'm super excited. And today we're going to be talking about something that keeps a lot of travel advisors stuck. Posting beautiful content that gets you likes. And in some cases, doesn't even get you likes, but doesn't get you what you really want, which is the holy grail booking. How many of you guys are using BranchUp? Let me know in comments. And so if you see me, my camera's here and the monitor's here. So how many of you guys are using BranchUp to market your travel business? Let me know in comments. How many of you guys are using the wonderful BranchUp to market your travel business? I am no longer using BranchUp. What is BranchUp? I am, but haven't personalized it. Yes. So BranchUp is the travel industry's way of helping you all get out there in a way that post beautiful pictures. And it was there a time when, because I have a lot of travel advisors in my feed, and I could always tell when BranchUp released a piece of content or a destination, because all day in my feed would be, I've got different travel advisors, business pages in my, that I'm associated with. And I would see all of the same destinations show up. And so BranchUp does allow you the ability to personalize it. And this is certainly not a knock on BranchUp, because I do think that the concept is good if used for good and not evil. However, what it does, it gives you this the sense of false security that I am posting and therefore I am being relevant to my audience and they will see me. But if you have ever used BranchUp, those of you that are using BranchUp, are you seeing results? Are you seeing bookings from those postings that you do with BranchUp? Let me know in comments. So for those of you that have used BranchUp, do you feel like you get the results from the beautiful pictures? Now, the reason why I'm picking on BranchUp today is because they do an amazing job at curating beautiful imagery, right? They've got like gorgeous pictures of a particular destination. They provide some content that is supposed to allow it to be a no-brainer for travel advisors to use. And it's already curated for you, so you don't have to do any of the work. However, it doesn't get you what you want, right? And so we don't post on social media because we are so in love with the destination. And maybe you are in love with the destination, but that's not really why you post, right? You post because you want to get engagement, because you want to get clients, right? Let me know in comments. Is that what you guys want? You're not just posting these beautiful pictures for nothing. You want to like get something out of it, right? For the work and the effort and the blood and the sweat. And if you are actually posting destination pictures of places that you actually have gone or are at on location, you want results, right? And those results that you want are clients. Let me know. Is that what y'all want? I want results. That's right. That's exactly what we want. So we don't want to do this and waste our time, because many of you all have full-time jobs. And even if this is your full-time gig, if you don't like social media like that, which I don't, like, I don't really like social media like that. I like people generally. I like people, but being on social media for the sake of trying to get clients by posting and not getting results is really an effortless job. Like it's a painful job that gets you no results. At least when you work out, you're supposed to get muscles at the end of it, right? When you work your social media muscle, that doesn't always lead to you getting clients. So if you're one of those people that are constantly feeling the internal pressure to create content, you're showing up on social media, but you're wondering why that's not translating into actual bookings, then this is the session for you, because I'm going to help you shift your mindset and hopefully shift your actions into doing the right thing when it comes to social media and your content. Most advisors, just like those that are using BranchUp and not getting results, is that you think that with consistent posting, it's a marketing strategy and that it's going to get you what you want. And so you think, oh, well, I'm just not consistent at it, and that's the reason why I'm not getting results. And I will tell you, I'm going to burst your bubble. You could post every single day, all day long, these beautiful pictures, and it's still not going to get you clients, because that's not a strategy. What travel CEOs know is that strategic launching is what converts followers into clients, not random content. Branch Up is great for you getting ideas and inspiration, but you need strategic content that's going to connect to your client. So here's the truth. If you're just posting travel tips, destination photos, and occasional book with me messaging, you're leaving thousands of dollars on the table, right? The difference between advisors who are constantly creating content with little return and those who are consistently booking premium clients isn't the frequency of your posting, it's how strategic you're launching that post or the content associated and connected to your client. So let me give you an example of one of my clients, Maya. She used to post on Instagram 5 times a week, every single day. I think she had I think her schedule was Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? And she was sharing beautiful destination content. She was doing travel tips. She had a cadence by which she did destination trips, and she was occasionally mentioning her services. How many of you guys are doing that? Let me know in comments. How many of you guys can relate to Maya's story where you're like, I know I need to have a content map. I know I need to have content. I need to post on some frequency. I need to have a strategy around that. And so you post with a frequency that says, I need to be doing it pretty regularly throughout the week. How many of you guys are doing that? So even if you're not using Branch Up, you've got a content calendar. Maybe you've hired a VA to help you with posting content. How many of you guys are doing that? You slacked off, right? And so even with doing that, she had some engagement. Maya had some engagement. She had people who hearted her stuff, right? And that makes you feel good. It makes me feel good when I look at a post and now I'm stalking YouTube, right? When I see that there's engagement, people are viewing, they're watching the stuff. And she thought to herself, this is great, right? I'm getting some traction. I'm making some traction. But when she looked at the numbers and when we looked at her numbers, she realized that traction wasn't converting followers into clients. She wasn't getting any more bookings. She wasn't getting any more travel requests. She wasn't getting more people booking into her group trips. It was not yielding her results. When her clients did reach out, they were often price shopping her. They were looking for the cheapest option. Despite all of the work that she had done in terms of creating that content, her VA was committed to a content plan. She still wasn't getting the kind of client that she wanted. So despite the work, she still was exhausted and she wasn't seeing results. And what's happening in this situation, like Maya, and for those of you all who can relate to that, is that the content was really entertaining her audience, not converting them. And that's what we want to change. You need to be building content. You don't need to be building a content platform, right? You don't need to be feeding the algorithms of social media. You need to be building a business. And so the problem wasn't that she needed to post more. It was that she needed to create better content. And what I mean by that is that she didn't have a framework for which she was creating the content that was geared to turning her audience, the watchers, the engagers, into clients. And let me ask you, does that sound familiar to you? Is that what you feel? So what I want to start with is that there is a psychology, number one, so if you're taking notes, is there is a psychology around successful launching of content, promotions, all of that. And the first key to that psychology is that it understands that what people's buying decisions are, that they follow patterns. And so here are some of the patterns. Most advisors think that the mistake of they jump straight into the offer, and the offer that they're jumping straight into is the destination. They don't establish any sort of problem with the client that the client can raise their hand and say, that's me, I have that problem. They don't position themselves as the expert to solve that problem, and they don't show the experience or the end result that their clients are going to achieve. You all create these amazing experiences. And I'm not just talking about the end experience at destination. You create a soothing experience to the point of getting to the destination too in what you do in your services. So successful launches create a journey for people that move them from, listen, I want to get to this destination because I want whatever I want is the reason I'm going. So reasons that people go on vacation, right? Because they're celebrating something. Maybe they're trying to connect with their loved one, their spouse, their family. Maybe it's a relaxation opportunity, right? It's a woosah moment. There's a purpose for them wanting to go on the destination, and your objective in your content is to poke at that, right? Poke at the reason why they want to go at it. Is it because they're overworked? They're burnt out? What is the reason? And why does this trip and the experience that you're going to do help them get that? That's the journey that you need to make sure that you do. You need to make them aware of the problem. You need to make them aware that they're burnt out, they're overworked, they're tired of their kids, they're tired of their spouse, so they need to create time to connect with their spouse. Whatever that is, you need to create a path of here's the problem and here I can get you to that specific end result, which is a closer relationship to your spouse, closer relationship with your friends, a reconnection to your why in life, right? Whatever that is. This is why random book with me's posts don't work, because there's no emotional connection with your client and to the reason why. You posting more pictures of Jamaica or Virgin Voyage and how sexy that ship is isn't going to allow people to connect to the reason why. It will allow them to connect to Jamaica or Virgin Voyages and that sexy ship, but it doesn't allow them to connect to you. And what we want are more connections to us, right? So what your book with me now post, and the reason why they don't work is because they're asking for commitment to buy something before you even establish the value of your service. And what I want you, and ladies, because most of you all are ladies on here, is to realize that you've got to get people to connect to you. If you want to sell more of your services, sell more of your expertise, then people need to know who you are and why they should care about what you do. So for Maya, what we had to do is we had to completely restructure her approach. Instead of her posting random tips of the week or posting random images or even images that were connected to an offer that she was doing, what we did is we created what I call the 5-day sequence, which follows buyer psychology. And so this positions her, specifically her services, as the solution to her ideal client. So number 2 thing that I want you to do is, this is what the 5-day sequence looks like. So take notes. Day 1, this is called, I call it the premium launch blueprint. It's a 5-day sequence that strategically moves people from, listen, I'm interested, into let's get on board to whatever your next step is. So day 1 is really about the problem and the possibility. You want to identify what's keeping people frustrated, and your people. So your ideal client, what is frustrating them in their life right now? What is the problem that they have? What is keeping them from being able to book travel themselves? Why can't they get to where they want to be? This creates a way for them to open the door to you. So if you can, and it's called, you probably have heard this, right? Pouring salt in the wound. Have you guys heard that before? Where your objective is to pour salt in whatever is agitating them. Why can't they get out of town? Who's your ideal client? What is it that they are doing? So let's just pick, for the purposes of today's conversation, is that you're working with busy professionals who are at the height of their corporate game, and they are, maybe they're government workers and they're so super stressed out, right? Are they going to have a job or not? And they are, 20 years, maybe close to retirement, and they know they need to take a woosah moment, right? That's the problem. So poke at that problem, and you need to insert yourself into their problem, which is, listen, I know you're stressed out about work. I know that you have been working many years, many hours or whatever, right? And really, you need a break, right? Maybe they are close to retirement and they do need a break. Maybe they haven't been on vacation in years and this is the time to do it. Day 1 is all about the problem and the possibility of them seeing a relief at the end of the tunnel. Just because you're stressed out and you're worried doesn't mean that you don't need to take a break. This still means that you can and you should take a break. Number two, day two is really around you positioning yourself as the way to get to that end result that your client wants. So we're establishing the why your approach, right? You as the advisor is different than the other advisor or Expedia.com or any other online booking agent that is out there. You are establishing yourself. Listen, I am the one that understands you, ideal client, better than you probably even understand yourself. I know these things about you. I know, and this is how I address those things. This is how you build authority. When we talk about content, and let's just say Jamaica is the place that you want to send everybody. And that's your go-to solution. Quick getaway to solve everyone's problem. It's a 5-day getaway. And that's the thing that you ultimately sell, right? But why do they care about you? Why can't they go pick their own 5-day vacation, right? What is the thing about your expertise that makes them want to book through you? That's what day two is about. Day three is really around the experience showcase. This is where you share previous client success stories, or if you've done a horrible job at collecting testimonials or creating case studies, then what you want to do is you want to share behind the scenes. Looks at how you put together the experience, what it would look like for them working with you, what your objective in day three is for them to visualize working with you, and then what it looks like to be at the end of their tomorrow at the location that they want to be at. So again, I want to be super clear about day three and what you're doing in the content in day three. It's not about highlighting and focusing just the destination. It's the path to get to that destination. And once they are at destination, then what they will experience too. So does that make sense? Because there's all this time before they actually arrive. And you need to be telling them about what you do to help ease the journey of them arriving. I'm going to give you an example. I've got a client who specializes in working with women who are, what's the right word? These women are stressed out women who focus only on their kids, their families, and they never take out time for themselves, which in my opinion is probably most of us women, right? But the reality is I somewhat feel like I'm that woman now, but certainly when I was in my 30s, 20 years ago, and I was just having kids and I was at the height of my corporate career, and I'm trying to juggle starting anew. We had just started our barbershop. I had just had our third child, right? So I had an 18-month, I had a newborn, I had an 8-year-old, I had a new business. I was still working corporate America. There was no time for Sunday, right? And so this is her client. And so the idea of going on vacation, although I needed it, was so far removed from me, I couldn't even imagine. This is who my client works with. So what she will be doing and does in her content is letting those women realize that they can stop, right? The idea of stopping, I was so spent up, all of the above, right? I couldn't ultimately it took a physical sickness in order for me to stop, right? That's who she works with. And so the success stories, the journey of realizing you're in that space. That's the reason why you're getting sick. That's the reason why you can't sleep at night and you have anxiety, right? That transformation is what she's talking about, right? And the fact that the way that you feel right now is symptomatic of what you need to accept to get to the resolution point. Does that make sense? Travel to me is and we actually have that on our site. Travel is the medicine or the prescription for her clients, right? That's what day 3 is about, is you showcasing what your life could be like if you took whatever that break is and you let me, as the expert, help guide you to the end result that you ultimately need. Day 4 is about the reveal. This is where you actually introduce your service. You introduce the premium service that's going to allow them to get to that end path, right? You explain in detail exactly how it works. Who's it for? This allows the end person, your client, to get clarity, to see oh my gosh, I don't have to think of all this stuff. And wow, I didn't even really think that this was the thing that was the center of that. I have another client who works with menopause women, right? Most of her women don't even know that they're in menopause. They've got all of these symptoms. And so her content is focused on identifying that the women are in menopause. She's going to be creating a community of menopause women, right? This is what her passion is. So day 4 is all about revealing. So when we talk about a launch, there's a strategy around that launch. I want you to think about your content as a launch. If you have a piece of content, what is the bigger picture that content is tied to? What is the end thing that you want to be purchased, acquired, gotten from the person who consumes that content? Day 4 is about you actually revealing to your clients, listen, I am available for you if you're ready to take that next step. Day 5 is about urgency and invitation. This is all playing into the psychology of buying. So you want to create a legitimate urgency. And I'm not talking about false urgency, like, I only have 2 spots and this is it. No, if you legitimately have more than 2 spots, don't say that. If you only have 10 spots and you're only opening up your calendar this week at this particular price point, then say that. But don't create false urgency. You want legitimate urgency, because if you start to fake it out, your clients and your communities of people will start to know that. So you want in day 5 to extend a clear invitation to take the next step with you. This drives action. What you know about yourself probably, and what you know about people, is that people wait to the last minute to do anything, right? You've got several types of buyers, but what this day 5 does is it plays to the buyer that is like, FMO. I do not want to fear missing out on this particular offer, so let me do it. So you want to make sure that you scoop up those buyers. Day 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to scoop up buyers who are like, what do you got? I don't want to wait. Like, let me know, right? And you've got people who don't like to wait. And I'm that type of buyer. If I like something and I know it, if you give me the offer immediately, I'm most likely going to take it. Unless there's something that's standing in my way, but then you'll get me by day 5, because if you remind me, I don't want to be that FMO person, right? That I missed out on something. So Maya, my client, she implemented this exact sequence in her family vacation business, and she was able to convert 7 clients by doing this. And this is just from one launch. More than she had booked just in her three previous booking months of posting content daily. She was able to do that by using this approach. This is what I want you to take away from number 3 point is that launch messaging that actually converts. This final piece is about you creating messages that actually resonate and convert people. Most advisors are focused on the features, right? I book hotels and flights instead of actually the experience that you create with your services, right? You provide experiences that are stress-free, problem-free, right? And even if there's somebody who's going to advocate in the issue resolution of those problems, right? Every detail is handled for your clients. That is the experience that you need to be highlighting. The fact that you've got products, which are hotels, flights, activities, those are the results of the experience that you get to get people to the end result. So each day of your launch, you need to address the following things. You need to make sure that you address a specific pain point that your client, and I'm talking about your ideal client, is experiencing. What they really desire instead, right? I don't desire to be stressed out, overworked, and underpaid by my family, right? I deserve to be well rested, appreciated, and connected with my spouse, right? That's what you want to highlight. You want to make sure that you understand what objections that are going to prevent them from going, right? So for the case of my other client, who deals with stressed out women who need to take like solo vacations. That's her thing. They need to take a woo-saw break from the family and everybody that's depending on them and go on these restorative trips. What objection would her client have? Well, her client says, I can't do it. They need me, right? So she's got to handle that in her content. The thing you also need to do is that you got to identify how your offer specifically addresses those objections, right? So part of the content that she does is to talk about, listen, I know that you have guilt around the fact that you're going out of town and that you're going to go out of town without the kids and the other people that are depending on you, right? Well, let's talk about that guilt. She's actually, as a part of her service, she creates this, I think it's a blueprint, that a readiness blueprint that helps her clients arrange care while they're gone. Right? So like, if your kids like to have all the square, because we actually had this conversation about, all the kids need to have all the crust cut off the thing, and you've got anxiety about that, right? And they've got to have like circle peanut butter jelly sandwiches. Well, what's the checklist of things that you need to give to your caregiver? That's one of the things that's a part of her service, is helping them work through how to organize themselves so they don't have this guilt. That's an objection. She has to create that as a part of her service, because that is the one thing that's going to prevent her clients from actually going through with the vacation and going forward. The last thing that you want to make sure that you address is a clear call to action, which means you clearly ask for what it is that you want. If you want them to submit a travel request, book a discovery call, whatever that is, make sure it's super clear. Don't be ambiguous. Don't be, well, reach out to me. If you want them to DM you with a particular word so that you know that they're interested, be clear about that. You want to make sure that you tell them exactly what to do. People think, well, no, they should know. People don't know. Give them the instruction, literally like a 7-year-old. And I'm not trying to be insulting, but what I'm saying is, stop making it hard for people to understand what it is in your head that you want to do. So with Maya, what we ended up doing is we had to shift her messaging. So she went from generic travel content to specifically addressing the frustration of the parents that she worked with trying to plan meaningful family vacations. So they were juggling work and life commitments. So she addressed that specifically in her messaging. And so listen, this approach is exactly how you get a premium clients who want to work with you to move to action. This is the difference between generic content on a particular destination that has some really great fluffy post language that says contact me at the end, right? Do you see the difference? Let me know in comments. Like, how are you guys feeling about this in terms of what you would be doing for your content? Let me know. I always love to hear your feedback. How is this? Do you guys feel like you've got the day 3 or point 3? What did you miss, Lanita? Day 3. So on day 3, what you are doing is you are showcasing the experience. So not just the travel experience at the destination, but the experience of working with you. Perfect. Hopefully that helped. Now, the question is, Danielle says, I know I should do more of this. Listen, and Danielle, your audience, I think you work with women and you take them on transformational, which is my favorite AI word. You take them on transformational journeys, right? Culturally immersed journeys, particularly that Egypt trip that you just went on, right? You show them not just sort of the touristy type of experience. You're women, and I think you work with aunties, right? Like, if I'm not mistaken, your ideal client is aunties, and so right, they're probably professional women, and they're thinking about their other people's kids, their work life, and all of that. And so you give them an opportunity to take a breath and experience the world. So your aunties have particular issues, right, that get them from going out of town. And so your audience is clear, because I've talked to you before. Your audience is clear. You already have an amazing story yourself. You also have amazing transformations that you provide. And so just creating this into a strategic, consistent launch when you create your content, I think you know too that you will see it as well. And so consistency is absolutely key. All right, so listen, what I will tell you is that strategy is the key, not beautiful pictures. Don't get me wrong, I love beautiful pictures. Now, you can throw in a beautiful picture every now and then, right? But the idea is to be strategic about the content that you create. And so I just walked you through the premium launch blueprint, the 5-day launch sequence that you need to do. But this is the deal, right? It's one thing to write it down, but you actually need to implement it, right? This is about building a business that consistently books premium clients. You need to do more than just write it down. You need to implement the framework. You need structure. You need support potentially, and a proven system to build that offer. Your positioning, your ideal client, and your booking flow like a travel CEO. That's exactly why I created CEO Builder Bootcamp. We just opened this up this week, and if you were in Travel CEO, if you were in our Travel Launch Challenge last night, we officially opened it up. And so I'm going to invite you all that are on live to actually join us in the next 8 weeks. We start May 11th. And this is an 8-week boot camp. And the objective is to nail who your ideal client is, nail your signature offers so that you can create content and launches that feel effortlessly. This is a muscle that you need to exercise, right? You're going to just write these 5 things down, these 5 days down and get it. You got to learn how to exercise the muscle. And frankly, you got to learn how to use AI to help you exercise that muscle. And that's what we do inside of the CEO Bootcamp. Now, if you have any questions about that, just type in CEO Bootcamp right now. I'll stick on, answer any questions for you about this. It's structured as an 8-week. I'm going to just give you just a little bit more information. It's an 8-week boot camp. It's structured where I'm going to drop live. Training every Sunday. Every other Tuesday, I'm going to come live and we're going to do live coaching. And every week, you're going to get an objective. At the end of the 8 weeks, you're going to have the following. You're going to have your avatar, so your ideal client. You're going to have that nailed. How many of you guys are using AI? All right. And you're not getting the results from AI that you would like, or maybe it's sort of hit and miss in terms of how you get AI, right? Problem is that the input, right? And you got to be a prompt engineer really to get it consistently. Maybe you're using some of the great features at ChatGPT that allows you to remember, right? It's got memory and it remembers what your voice is, but oftentimes you're struggling to try and get AI to do what you want it to do. The persona and the avatar of your ideal client is one of the key inputs into that. And that is one of the outcomes of our bootcamp, is that we have a solid avatar for you to use every single time that you use AI when you want to get a thing out of it. The number 2 thing that you're going to get out of the bootcamp is your signature offers defined. So when I talk about your premium offer, right, that you want to showcase in day 4, I think it was day 5, right? And you want to extend, it was actually day 4. When you extend an offer, what does that offer look like? What does it cover? So I mentioned one of my clients where her offer includes the checklist that lets clients know what to give the babysitters so that they can keep the kids safe. That's part of the offer. We create your signature offer. And when you didn't join the challenge and you think the offer is the trip, the offer is not the trip. The offer is the service that you get people to pay for. Even if you do group trips, right? You still have an offer that you create. So we create that signature offer, and then I teach you how to position that offer in to your clients. How do you do that consistently? We do that in the 8-week boot camp. And then the last thing that we're going to do in the boot camp is if you don't have a framework by which to deliver this, collect your design fees consistently, you don't have systems in place. The other major thing that we do in that 8 weeks is we get those systems up and running, making sure that you have the automations, emails, forms, surveys, all of that in place so that you can ensure that you get the stuff done on autopilot. We start again May 11th, and our live session is May 13th. Let me know in comments if you guys would love to be a part of that. I think somebody just asked what the link is to do this. This is going to actually take you to a brief that has all of the information about the boot camp. And I'm putting that link right here. Let me change that from an individual to everyone. And I will also say it for those who are like, she's taking too long. It's onlinetravelboss.com/CEO builder. All right, let me make sure I got all the questions answered. And let me give you guys, before we go out of here, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen next week. We're going to be hitting a nerve. So we're going to be talking about the one thing that silently is killing your conversion. And it's not your content, your offer, or your pricing. It's something you're probably doing right now without even realizing. So episode 3 will be next Wednesday, same channel, same bat time, silent deal breakers, why clients say no without telling you. And so if there are no more questions, I will see you next Wednesday. If you are interested, you could also send me a message in Facebook or an email and just tell me that you're interested, and then we can talk a little bit more about that. because once this closes, we will be ended. You're welcome, Danielle. It's good to see you, and I'm glad that you had a good trip to Egypt. Yes, Z, you had a question?
Hey, Sundey, how's it going?
It's going good.
That's good. That's good. So I just really quickly, I kind of was typing and trying to read at the same time, but I kind of missed day 2 or like the part 2 of what's. Where is it?
Yeah, the recording will be available too, so you'll be able to do that. I'll be setting the recording out. Let me just go back to my notes and give it to you really quick. It's expert positioning. All right. Any other questions before I skedaddle out of here?
Yes, I do have a question.
Yes.
Hi, Sundey.
Hi.
Ms. Gant had a question, and I may have missed the answer. She asked if rebranding your social media, should you delete the old stuff?
No.
Okay.
I don't think that it's necessary to go delete the old stuff. Focus on, pushing it down with more important stuff.
Oh, thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
I have a quick question. So do you want us to have a separate Facebook group that's, separate from our regular Facebook page, or should we do this on both pages, or just do a business page? What's the best approach?
Yeah, so social media, we could do an entire training just on social media. So Facebook is a very unique animal. It is my specialty. Facebook business page, you need a business page. Think of that as a yellow page, right? Your Facebook business page is one of the entry points into people seeing your online presence, Facebook business. It's the best yellow page, listing that you could do is having a Facebook business page. However, Facebook in all of its glory doesn't allow that business page to be visible unless you pay for it. So if you want it to be visible to your ideal client, you need to be boosting that content, paying for that content on your business page to be seen by your ideal client. If you want to run ads, you need to have a business page as well. So it's free to have a business page. I think every travel advisor should have a business page. One of the things that we do inside of bootcamp is we talk about how to set up that business page so it has what it needs on it. So that's number one. Business page, need to have it. Think of it as a yellow page listing. And this is totally dating me, right? Because do they even have yellow pages anymore? So that's all the more reason why you need to have a Facebook business page, because there's a lot of real estate on that business page. And if you do run ads, it's the thing that's visible. In terms of a Facebook group, it really depends on what your engagement strategy is going to be. I don't recommend doing a group if you're not going to show up. You're not going to actively get people in it. You're not going to be in it regularly, engaging with them. For years and years upon years, Facebook group was my engagement location. That's where you found me, was in a Facebook group. Now we have our own community off of Facebook. And so now that's where you find me. You find me in my community. So it really depends on what your strategy is going to be for engagement. So I've got this process called ARC, attract, relate, and convert. Facebook groups are a relationship building place. So if you want a relationship building place, you want to build a community, then I recommend doing a group.
So for what you were sharing with us today, to get our posting to turn into conversion, where is the best place to do that?
You could do that in email. You could do that on any social media platform, but you just need to make sure that you know the platform and that post will be visible.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. All right. Well, ladies, I think I've answered, how do you get people into a group? Attract, right? So that's so we talked about this yesterday, Sugar, and it's the same thing. When you want to build, you have to attract. And so the way to attract is either organically or paid. So I have grown Facebook groups. The way that I did that was through paid advertising. How I grow my community, it's through paid advertising. So you could be in other people's groups as part of growing an email list, growing a group, a community. It's all around making sure that there is an engine to get people in, get people on your list, get people in the community, get people recognizing and knowing who you are. So whatever you do, whatever the product is, the service is, the objective is, how are you going to attract? And frankly, there's only two ways to do it, organically or paid. And so you could use an influencer, but usually you have to pay them to do it, or you're giving something. So it's always, how are you going to get in front of your ideal client, and what's the strategy you're going to do? If you do it organically, you may not be paying money, but you're going to need to invest time. If you're paid, you got to do it strategically, and you got to pay money for it. So there is no, like, I'm not the coach or the trainer that's going to come here and tell you, listen, you just build it and they will come. No, you build it, right? And you promote it, and you do it repeatedly. You do it repeatedly. You build it and you promote it. So whatever it is, if you're going to build a Facebook group, you got to promote it. If you're going to launch, you need to launch it to people that already know and trust you. So there's no magic pill here, ladies and gentlemen. If you want a business and you want to be the CEO of the business and a CEO that gets paid, you need to build systems that will allow you to do that. So listen, as always, it's a pleasure. I am going to finish packing because I'm headed to go see my grandbaby, and I will see you guys next week. Have a lovely week. If you have any questions about CEO Builder, please reach out, and I will see you next week. Talk to you soon.